truly magical things are the ones that happen right in front of you. A lot of time you keep looking for beauty, but it is already there. And if you look with a bit more intention, you see it. Aqua praguaca, aqua praguaca. Each drop of my blood, by none. Almost everyone was visibly a mixed race that the country might be poor was no reason for shame. Although I rooted for it to get rich, we considered ourselves to be peaceful, affectionate, clean. It was unimaginable that anyone born here would want to live in another country. Unimaginable. In fact, what estranged me from the rock and from the entire impulse toward Americanization was that it reached me without carrying any trace of rebellion. Antes do seculo exquaemias espicio manteantes da configuracio do movimento abolitionista nenhum grupo nico quo social no Brazil foi contra escravido and quanto sistema pessoas e grupos região contra sua propria e particular escravizago chaos neo Spain contra Brazilian Spain and Brazilian todo no Portuguese and other languages mixed with English to stoke vacate and so painted a pale mint green with the words Charm Hotel in bold black letters. A leaking guitar pipe was washed away with letter C so that it now reads a terra neo se reparte C a branch subject to the C a terra e como a art na libertad e qua si cultiva neo aprende a nadar numa biblioteca mas na agua. When lunchtime comes, as always, I run to elaborate 1.2. I run my fingers along the edges of the books and follow the path to the romance section, looking for the 17th book in the 9th row of the 3rd shelf. This is my routine, and I adore every moment of it. One of the pages of the book is different from the rest. It was glued in to replace the original page, which had been torn out. On the patched page, I find my favorite passage from the story. I sit on the floor and I read. How is the patient? He asked her. Dead to the world, but not actually dead. No, how nice to feel nothing and still get full credit for being alive. Forest losses from clearing land for farming and ranching, usually by burning, are concentrated in the Brazilian Amazon, the Congo Basin, and Borneo. The fact that BMBP, Brazilian popular music, would come to concentrate the energy of this generation only confirms the power of the tradition that made Bossa Nova possible. All Brazilians have the impression that the country simply has no practical sense. It is like a father with a good heart and an honest reputation, whom we respect but who can't make money or hold a steady job, who wastes great opportunities, gets drunk, and lands in trouble for the rest of that month on dusty afternoons when the sun looked like a giant yolk in the cloudless sky. No one managed to get any work done at that office. Nearly all of them had a distinct feeling they would live unhappily ever after, and they did. Barbados, Crop Over, Cadumment, Day, Brazil, Carnival, New Orleans, Mardi Gras, Trinidad, Jove, Neo, Ahi, Bastava, Sir Casada, Entre, Quattro, Peritas, A, algumas are fours, precisava do resto do mundo, também e quando eu me vi embaixo, passando as ruas, como lá parando, Alejandro, falando, sente a mesma coisa, inventava passeios para qua me me a confirmação e me enviação. Most big freshwater fish in most parts of the world have all but disappeared from most places where they used to live, as with a repima. The main reason is overharvesting, but there are other factors too. Dams block the migration routes of many fish, so they disappear from the water above the dam, or even altogether. The breeding grounds are cut off, draining off food, flood plains, cutting off backwaters. Competition from invasive species and pollution also play a part, and sometimes it's just willful slaughter, and was the case with North American alligator arg in the early 1900s, thanks to the incorrect assumption that killing these predators would boost populations of game fish. Vida normalizarsi quella normalidade nesta seta KO Euclides reclama da forma como as tropas brasileiras estavam se acostumando com a vida no campo de batalha e com seus constantes a vida normalizar-se qual has been Brazilian. Slavery could not function without the lubricant of violence. The whip accompanied the lives of the enslaved from the moment they entered an Atlantic ship, the Atlantic slave ship, to their dying days in slavery. The truth is, there was no one else around. Months later, not at first, one of them would say that the office was a desert of souls. The other one agreed, smiling, proud that he wasn't included in that description. And little by little, between beers, they came to share sour stories about unloved and hungry women and soccer banter, secret Santa wish list, fortune tellers, addresses, a bookie, Jogodo, bed show cards, a mother for a punch clock, the occasional pastry after work, cheap champagne in plastic cups, in a desert of souls that were also deserts. One special soul immediately recognizes another, maybe for that reason, who knows, but neither of them wondered. For the rest of that month, on dusty afternoons, when the sun looked like a giant yolk in the cloudless sky, no one managed to get any work done at the office. Nearly all of them had the distinct feeling that they would live unhappily ever after, and they did. And a so a dizer, o Brazil foi van dado sobre cemiterio indigena todo dia e aljonguam quo samano. I was awestruck by Rio, the way the ocean, city, and emerald mountains merged into each other and held hands. The conversation was deep, so he lightened the mood. In a second, behind them, an easy distraction in front of us, taking the call to join in with the cheering, and I followed. A Mexican wave got too big to ignore, pulling us to our feet, popping us out of our bubble, reminding us that we were not alone, but back down in our seas, our Gemini souls found more words, our minds unable to stop. For matrimonio, neguium, a customer, investor, negocio problematico. However, there are other more political forms of these tendencies, hostile to Western models, all these other countries that we want to acculturate, acculturate by force, acculturate by force the principles of political and economic rationality, of the global market and democracy, the universal principle in a history that is not their own, of which they have neither the ends nor the means. All of these countries which make up the rest of the world, they give us the impression in Brazil, for example, that they will never, ever, forever be accultured to this exogenous model of calculation and growth, that they are deeply allergic to it. And in fact, do we Westerners, masters of the world, still have its ends and means? Do we still measure up to this universal undertaking of mastery that now seems to surpass us in every domain and function like a trap of which we are the first victims? Artistas, bons deo, pro museo, artistas, amos deo, pra qual queer legor, you credito, melagras, mas qua elis, neo existum, Rio not only the Indian slaves to the technology of the whites, but have the base slaves of their nostalgia of our origins. If you could only see tonight's moonrise over Rio, then you would understand just why my heart aches so. Christ the Redeemer can then compare to the spectacular wonder climbing high over there, so far above me, so out of reach, light in the city, light in the beach, with a heavenly glow of God only knows, endless beauty to behold, moonrise over Rio. Seen in Brazilian in the moonrise, seen and speaking Brazilian in the moonrise, ron.